I've received a lot of revelations recently, but the real question about revelations seems to me is what happens when you don't look for God? Or what happens when you don't look to God? Not just as a society, but as an individual, what happens? Now, obviously, if you're watching this video, you're here because you are actually curious, or you're actually seeking something outside of yourself, or perhaps even something greater within yourself. So what happens when you don't look for God or look to God? Not a lot of good things in my experience. It's been my experience that looking for God involves discipline, really pulling yourself up in every way you can possibly imagine, and then letting go of all of the things that you thought you needed so that you can get the things that you really want. To all the men out there, I was once a simp and a beta male, I guess you could say. And then I grabbed myself by the balls and I got to work. I stopped messing around because I kept telling myself, well, I don't have a gym to go to. Oh, well, I don't have the equipment to lose the weight. I don't have the skills I want to do the things I need to do. Oh. This was years ago. But then I found my balls. And I got to work. So many people in this day and age are diminished of strength because in order to have strength, you need some kind of leadership. And it seems to me that not enough men know where their balls are. They just want to crawl back into their mother's womb and just be contained. They don't know what it's like to be a sophisticated savage. I will tell you one thing. When you can go through life walking as a king, knowing and feeling that this energy within you is so powerful and so unstoppable that nothing could inhibit upon the way that you feel, that's what it feels like to be a sophisticated savage. That's what it feels like to be a godlike savage. I had no idea I was going to be able to feel this way when I didn't find my balls. But faith comes by hearing, and by hearing again. And that's from Romans 12, I believe. Romans 12, 11 or 12, something like that. And I kept listening to what was happening around me at this time when I was out of sight of God, or at least God was not in my sights, but I was in the sight of God. Even when I was doing the wrong things, I always felt as though there was something more to life. Even when I was doing a lot of these sinful acts, I always felt as though there was a bigger blessing coming. But I didn't want to say blessing because I didn't like the idea of blessing. I didn't like the idea of being gifted something by somebody I can't see or can't communicate with. And when I first started praying, it was very strange. It was very weird. I didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling of talking to myself. At least that's what I thought I was doing. I thought I was just talking to myself. But when you have that kind of interaction internally with God, in my experience, it was a totality of existence that almost made me smitten with the love of God in a righteous way. I was completely captivated by the love that I felt because I had been so absent of it for so long. I didn't know what it was like to actually feel God's love. I didn't ever think God was a protecting, merciful, forgiving God. I didn't think that at all. I thought God was very harsh a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But I didn't really think that at all, though. But when I really first felt the mercy of the love, the mercy within the love, rather, of God, that was when everything changed, and I knew that I was protected. And this is really what it's about. Knowing that you're always supported. It's like when you lay on the ground at night. How do you know the ground beneath you isn't going to just fall all of a sudden? You just have a faith that it won't, right? It's kind of an act of faith to just climb into bed. A lot of people think the world is made out of the 3D structures and material objects, and everybody stuck in the matrix is still thinking about how they need to complete their action items for the day and get the stuff done and they need to go do done, and they need to get at work, and then they have plans, and then they need to go hang out with their friends, or maybe they need to go get it. They need to do this. They need to do that. They blah, 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 blah. Ugh. Don't you ever stop? Just a second. I'm not saying stop forever, because I'm not saying that at all. That is not my message. What I'm saying is, are you capable of waiting? Are you capable of being patient? Are you capable of being loyal to something more than your own sense of needs and your own sense of urgency? Impulse control is destroying the fabric of society as we speak. Right now. Impulse control is a real problem. Man, I was at the gym yesterday and today, and I had a couple weird experiences. Now, I'm just operating on a high level. I'm on a high spiritual level. I'm feeling good. I am feeling like a godlike savage. I'm not a god, but I'm godlike. And so are you, because you are made by God. And that makes you so amazing, and so powerful, and so pure, and so true. If you only realize and remember it. It's all up to you, right? But I digress. I was at the gym, and I'm in the middle of my set. And this guy wants to come talk to me and ask me about how my life is going and whatnot. I don't even know this guy. I've seen him around maybe once or twice, but I don't even know this guy. And he just starts talking to me about how my life is going, and he's got a big smile on his face. I like the positivity. I really like the positivity, but it's like, I'm in the middle of my set. I was doing shoulder presses, and I was in the middle of my set, man. Like, what is going on? And then today, this guy cut in to the squat rack in front of somebody else. No, it's just not a nice thing to do at the gym, right? But anyway, he sat there, and I mean, I was working, and like if he was working out on it, that's one thing. But he just sat there stretching. That's all he did for fucking 20 minutes. For 20 minutes, that's all that guy did. He just stretched just like that. So he cut in front of somebody and then just stretched on the squat rack. And there's like 6 of them, right? So there's like, it's not that there's not a lot to go around. It's just like at the time it was really busy in the morning. And like if you're not using it, nobody cares. And there's like a limit of how long you can be on a machine at this gym. But it's like 30 minutes. So it's quite a bit of time that you can be on a machine and not have anybody say anything. But it's like to just cut in front of somebody and to just start stretching for no reason. This guy is just, he's nowhere near here now. He's somewhere else, right? He's got his mind on something else. He's got his mind on something different. He is not present. And this is one thing I've learned about God, is that God is always present. And you will know who is godlike and who is godly based on how present they are in this moment in time. If they can remember things, if they can act spontaneously in a way that is indicative of their highest possible values, you know that they're godly. And there's a certain kind of enthusiasm that happens, right? And this is what really, like enthusiasm, the root word means to be filled with God. So to be enthused literally means to be filled with God and the Spirit of God. And that's why most people that are enthusiastic are fun to be around. However, there's a difference between like a party enthusiastic and then just an enthusiasm and a zest for life. There's a difference there. But the main message that I want to articulate in this video is that for the men out there, you need to grab your balls and start going and doing things. You don't necessarily have to have a plan. Just start doing things. Just go. And then for women, what I recommend is to understand the difference between being submissive to God and to honor God, and to, how would I say it? Or how do you say it? It's like understanding how being submissive to God increases your protection around dominant men. And I'm not speaking of dominance as an aggressive force. I'm speaking of dominance as a leadership quality. So, with that being said, I hope this message was useful and informative. God is protecting you. God is watching you. Peace be with you all.